How's it going, Blazers? This is going to be the last time that I try this. This is where a lot of technical difficulties today. So tried my cell phone signal, tried the home wireless, and then now I even moved the range extender into the room to be the closest as I can to it. And we'll see if this works. I am moving, so that's a positive, which is a pretty cool thing because we're trying to get Kizer part of the pass-around group for a little bit, and then they finally are part of the pass-around group. So they sent in 3 knives. There's one of them. It's called the Pinch. So the Pinch is a pretty cool knife itself, where you can actually open it up. It does have a little bit different mechanism for it. So instead of having a lockback, kind of like a standard one, like this one here, which is the Queen Cutlery one. So this one actually has a lockback to it, which has a spring on the back of it. The other one is a little bit different. So this one has basically 2 detent balls. So basically in the different position, either in the closed position, actually almost got myself there. In the closed position, it has a detent ball, and in the open position it has a detent ball. So it's basically a liner lock that operates without actually locking the knife. So there's nothing that actually interferes with the closing or opening of the blade in either way. And then it is a really pretty solid one as well. So it is my micarta handle for it. It does have a little bit of voids on one of the sides, a little bit more than the other. So the show side is a little cleaner than the pocket clip side. And then this one is reversible too, so you can do right hand tip up or left hand tip up. So you can actually do that reverse. But that is the one that's from Kizer, which is a pretty neat knife. And if you are getting into slip joints and you're looking for something that's a pretty solid one, this might be a way to go. As far as like even some of the specifications behind it, the grind is a little bit off, where it's 37 thousandths and on one side and 30 thousandths on the other side, about 22 thousandths behind the edge. So it's about 18 degrees per side as far as it being sharpened, but that's something that's a little bit different. So it's kind of it's a little bit of also a lot of information as far as trying to really get it down to that minute point. There's a different one here too. So this is one that I think is really quite a cool knife. So this one actually is I think it's A-lock or something. Actually forgot what it was called, but instead of having a back spring, so if you can see on this one, this is through construction, but it is a slip joint, so it actually is a good size as well. So in comparison to the Kizer one here, you can kind of see that, I mean, the blade length on it as well as the handle. So that's going to be the difference on that. But this one has a kind of a V spring that goes into it that interferes with the inner workings of this. It does have a very positive opening, and then I like the look of it. People might think it's kind of ugly, but this is a pretty cool one. Actually, it seems to be made by real steel, just going off of the pocket clip for it. So I think it is a pretty well built blade there. And then this one's going to be one that's from Rake. So this one I did modify a little bit to actually have it work appropriately. So I don't think it needed that little liner lock that it had. So I did with some heat on the pivot, and then I actually bent that over. So that's something that I actually did for that, which was pretty cool. And then there's one that was kind of get into more of the very much traditional style. So this is Queen Cutlery. So they're out of business now, from what I saw. But this one is the Schmidt and Morgan S&M. But this is the one here that is this one, and I think it's a pretty handsome knife. So it does have half stop for it, and I did have a bullnose. That one, the spring on it was terribly strong, and then also I sharpened it because it had a notch in the blade, and then I thought maybe it got hit by a staple or something. So I sharpened it, took it out, opened and closed it a bit, put it away, opened it back up, and then actually saw there was a notch back in the blade, so it was making contact with that back spring. And then so I sent it in. We'll see what they say about it. as far as any type of resolution to that, or if they figure that that might be operator error. We'll see. But it did send that out. But that's going to be this one. I'll have a more of a detailed video on this one here, but if you do want to pick it up, I would recommend it. It's a pretty solid knife. If I was in the market to buy a knife right now, I would probably pick this up because it does carry well. It's not a deep carry clip, but it does ride well in and out of the pocket very easy. So it is a nice one to pick up. You can still do one-hand closing for it. You can't do one-hand open unless you add a quick stud to it, but it is something that you would pinch, hence the name for this here. And then quick note also, not for them, but for Dan Designs, they're going to be having theirs. Basically, the pre-orders are going to be done by the 15th of this month. So if you want to get on these, check out damdesigns.com and then get in on those. And I'll also have a video coming up for that. But live stream kind of worked. Didn't have anybody on, so I think that's something wrong with the service, or that I tried this 4 other times and then they're like, oh, that's not going to work anymore. So this is going to probably post in a little bit. If you have any questions, leave it down in the description. I'll answer those as well. And then I'll look forward to videos on that, and a few other things. It's kind of a mess out here. Have a great night, day, evening, whatever it might be. And thank you very much.